Greetings YouTube, Fuzzfinger here bringing you more Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age. In today's episode we're going to begin by taking on the 4th hunt, which is the Wraith enemy, and I expect that to be a challenge but fun at the same time, and then we're going to continue on with the game's narrative and story. So come and join me. If you enjoy watching, don't forget to let me know in the comments section, hit the like button and be subscribed to my gaming channel. First things we're going to do today is go over to the notice board here and pick up the next hunt, which is for the Wraith, and we're going to head over to the petitioner and get this done immediately. It's quite a challenging one, this one is, especially when, if like me, you're not using any licenses or jobs, but hopefully we'll get through it. Now I do apologise, when I was actually recording this episode live, the program that I used to record with the software, it's Game Capture HD it's called, and it's by Elgato, for some reason decided to take on a mind of its own, and without me even knowing it had switched the microphone that I used to record commentary with. Well, I got interrupted then by the phone. Nothing seems to be going right for me today trying to make this video. As I was saying, the software had switched the microphones around that I was using. I hadn't even realised, and it had turned off my Blue Yeti, which is what I used to record my commentary, and had turned on my headset microphone, which was actually ravelled up inside the headset itself. So unfortunately what this meant was not only was my commentary not being recorded, but a horrible noise was being recorded instead, like a beep, just continuously. It was horrendous. And I couldn't use that in the video, but because I'd saved my game, you know, at the end of playing through the section of video itself, I couldn't go back and re-record the episode. So what I've done is muted the game volume and then re-recorded the commentary in post-production over the top, which is not an ideal situation. I understand that, not by any stretch of the imagination, but unfortunately it was either do it this way or do it so that you could hear the music but have a horrendous bleeping sound which is continuous and would have made you turn the video off almost instantly, or completely skip this episode, which would be no good for those that are using this guide as a walkthrough. So I went for what I hope is the lesser of the three evils, which was to mute the game sound and re-record the commentary. Now, what you will notice is that through cutscenes, I'm actually able to turn the game audio back on, because at that particular point is when I generally mute the commentary on the software anyway, so that bleeping sound won't be present. So anyway, let's head back to the walkthrough itself. And by the way, I will always check in future that the right microphone is selected before recording going forward. So we've picked up the hunt from the board in the South Sea pub, or whatever it's called, and now we've come over to Lowtown because the petitioner is located just over here in the northeastern corner of the town. It's this person that's kneeling down. First I thought it was a child, but it wasn't. It is an adult. They're just kind of hunched over and look small from particular angles. So this is the Wraith hunt. It's a challenging hunt, as I said at the start, and it was deceptively simple for me when I first began the encounter, which you'll see in a moment, but it did get progressively harder throughout the fight. In order to actually access the hunt, we need to head back into the sewer area, the waterway area, and we do that from the storehouse 5 here. This particular gate is now closed. We cannot get through from this point, and there's no door up north. Instead, we go to the east side of this room, and the gate there will give us access to the waterway itself. And fortunately, the hunt is not too far as we go inside. So let's just make our way in here. And hopefully you're familiar with this place, because we did pretty much explore it throughout the walkthrough. So every inch of it has been explored already. And you can see the section that we're standing in with the orange dot on the map. The hunt is actually located in this same section, and it's located just pretty much slap bang in the centre. So we just need to make our way around to the centre. The hunt doesn't spawn unless you both A, have obviously spoke to the petitioner so that you've picked it up, and B, head to the correct spot. It's not an enemy that patrols, it literally spawns when you trigger it. So at first I thought it was around this bottom section, the southern section here, but it wasn't. So then we headed up towards the centre, and there it is. It's this Wraith, this ghost. I guess somewhat similar to the Wraith hunt in Final Fantasy XV. It's interesting to see the inspiration that's taken in that game from Final Fantasy XII. And we're just going to start by attacking it. And its main form of attack to begin with is by casting Doom, and that will give you a 10-second countdown timer on the character that it's cast on. So not a 10-second countdown, but a 10 number countdown. It is longer than 10 seconds. And when the countdown reaches 0, that character will die. And you'll either have to cast Phoenix down to resurrect them, or you can use a remedy on them before the countdown expires in order to remove that Doom counter. Now, apart from that, this this hunt, this mark, as they're called, doesn't really do anything exciting, at least not to begin with. You can see that a couple of our characters have now been hit with the Doom counter, and initially I thought, well, his health's dropping quite quickly. You know, I suspect I'll be able to kill him even before he actually gets one of these Dooms to activate, you know, before the counter finishes. So I just went all out. But then something I noticed is that he starts to glow orange as his health goes low. And when he does this, he starts, well, not seemingly taking as much damage because his health doesn't drop. And he also does a lot more damage in terms of the attacks that he puts out. You can see our health levels are dropping really quickly. At this point I realise we're not going to kill him in time before Bash's Doom expires, so I cast a remedy on him. And generally waste that remedy because Bash dies anyhow due to the physical attacks of the boss. So I'm frantically here trying to get people resurrected and healed up. The boss, so I keep saying the boss, the hunt, the mark even, this whole time, is literally just slaughtering us with an inkling of health. But Fran isn't doing anything now to the enemy because she's instead just concentrating on throwing potions and cures around the place. Well, not potions, but just cures. Which means that no one's actually doing any damage because Varn here is resurrecting and healing as well. So as this boss is teleporting around, I decide to actually take manual control of Fran and cast fire. Unfortunately, I caught it here right as it was teleporting, so it couldn't be targeted. But if we do that again, then as you can see, we can target it. And this fire should pretty much be all that's needed to take out the enemy. And at the same time, Varn dies, so we have to switch to a new party leader. So this fight, which was really quite simple to begin with, all of a sudden became really annoying. But just as we were about to resurrect Varn, we didn't get to do so. The boss, the mark. I keep calling it a boss because it felt a bit like a boss. The mark dropped dead and the hunt was completed. So I was quite happy with that. And I'm not going to waste any Phoenix Downs or remedies or anything on the characters that are still affected by Doom or Death. Simply interacting with a save point will get everyone resurrected back to full health and in good shape again. But before we do that, we're just going to stop off at the petitioner, tell them the good news that the Wraith is dead, and then hopefully collect our rewards. And that's pretty much exactly what takes place. And we get a bit of dialogue then from this other NPC, which finishes off the quest itself, the side quest itself. And everyone seems happy, which means we can now move on to different things. Okay, so here's our reward now. A Bungee Gill along with some gauntlets which I can't equip because I don't have the licenses or jobs. And what was the thing, an ether or something? I missed it. But anyhow, once you're ready, we're going to just make our way over to the quest area, which is the Aerodrome. And that's on the western side of the city. And then once we enter the Aerodrome, Fran's outside, but we don't need to talk to her. We need to instead go up and find Balthea. And once we speak to Balthea, he'll give us the option to proceed forward with the narrative or to not. So we are going to choose to do so. And then we kick off a cutscene, at which point I muted the commentary so you can actually hear it in all of its glorious sound. So I'll be quiet now. On second thoughts, we do just have to get through this dialogue, but there's not a lot of it. We just confirm that we're ready. And then he'll say, "Are you really, really ready?" And we'll say, "Yes, we are. That's why we told you in the first place." And then everyone moves on with their lives and the cutscene begins.
This is the Stroud. Cheap airship enough for you?
The Straw. You really are a sky pirate.
Well, the headhunters seem to think so. What's a good word? Is she ready?
So is she armed? How fast is she? Could she take the Ifrit?
I suppose I could tell you, but... wouldn't you rather see for yourself?
Yeah.
Fran, our course.
The shortest way, so Dorstonis.
How flies, Busheba?
Oh, she's free as can be, for now. The Empire took notice when they announced the princess's unfortunate suicide and your untimely execution.
If it becomes known that I'm alive, the Marquis will lose their favor.
I try to steer clear of such things. Right, it's time to fly. And no wagging tongues or you'll like to bite them off.
I'm coming, Penelope.
You've seen to her feeding, yes?
I have, my brother. She eats well.
See that she does. We need her alive. Balthier's bait must be fresh.
I keep trying to tell you. I barely even know who Balthier is.
My brother, a message come from Ravenaster. The Strahl, she set sail. She makes straight for the sky city of the Gerba.
Barely know, was it? Yet Ala Tracy goes bounding off for you. Tell me, how could that be?
That's what I'd like to know. I just met him that one time and that's
Does
it.
that tongue never stop? What if we plucked it from your head? As for you, we need Balthier alive. His corpse fetches but half the bounty.
A tender beaten, my specialty.
There's no fun for it if we can't tease out a scream or two.
Where are you?
Easy.
No good, he's not here. Keep searching. This way.
You're a dead man. Don't forget it. And no names.
Of course.
After the cutscene, we find ourselves in the Bujerba Aerodrome, and once we leave the Aerodrome, we'll kick off with yet another cutscene, and then we'll be able to take full control of our party once more.
The Lusu mines are just up ahead. Though, I do hear there's not much left there these days.
You're on your way to the mines? Then please allow me to accompany you. I have an errand to attend to there.
What manner of errand?
What errand? I might ask the same of you.
Right. Come on then.
What?
Excellent.
Do me a favor and stay where I can keep my eye on you. Should be less trouble that way.
For us both.
So what's your name?
Oh, I'm Lamont.
Don't worry. I don't know what's in that mine, Lamont, but you're in good hands. Right, Bosch?
And we have a new party member, at least a guest party member for a short while in Lamont, or Lament, or whatever it was he said. Although that was a hesitation in when he gave that name, so I guess we'll find out later on what the true story involved there is. But once we've taken control of our party, we're going to basically make our way over to the far corner of the city, where we can go ahead and enter the mines themselves. But before we do that, we can actually speak to this Moogle right here, who's actually going to be able to sell us a couple of maps. And make sure you want to buy those before moving on. If you don't have the gil for whatever reason, just sell some of the stuff that you've got in your bags. Although you should have this amount of gil by this point in the game, in all honesty. You get the map for the city itself that we're in, which is Bujerba Sky City. And then you get the map for the mines, which we're now heading towards. So that's important as well. Once you're stocked up on the maps, you can then basically just explore a little bit if you want to. There's quite a few areas of the city you won't be allowed into. The guards will stop you. But ultimately you want to come to the northeastern section where the save point is. And just make sure you stock up. There's a vendor here that sells potions and healing items and phoenix downs and what have you. And if you're using licenses, you can check around some of the vendors, see if they have any equipment. And there's also a gambit vendor as well. You can see the orange diamond on the map. He will sell you various gambits that you probably don't have. And I did in fact stock up on a few myself. So that's worth looking at as well. But ultimately, this save point is your destination. The mines are straight ahead of us. We're going to save that until the next episode, which will be recorded again properly. But thanks for joining me today, folks. Come back again soon, and we'll crack on with more Final Fantasy XII.